Hey there, welcome to .NET Techie. I'm Deep Gautam here, and today I'm gonna to talk about very interesting thing: data sharing between Angular components. So there are many mechanisms of data sharing, so which involves communicating from parent to child, communicating from child to parent, communicating via view child, or communicating via individual services. So these are important way to communicate the data between your components. And I have prepared this tutorial especially for you guys, for my YouTube viewer, where this tutorial has the excellent example which you will not find out in Google or which you will not find out in Angular IO. I have been going through the Angular IO this tutorial about the sharing data between components, and I found that those tutorials are not really relevant to the practical world. So I thought to give some time. It has taken a lot of time for me to prepare this tutorial and come up with the real-time example for you guys. And in order to do that, let's see what I have for you guys. So I will teach you. It is a very simple way to do these things. Let's see. So first, I will tell you parent to child communication. It can be done via input. So we will see the magic of the input. Second thing, we will see how child to parent component can communicate from child component to component. It can be done by at the rate output and event emitter. So we will see the magic of the at the rate output and event emitter. Third thing, child to parent component. So it is also necessary that we can communicate from child component to parent component, and it can be done via at the rate view child. So we will see the magic of the at the rate view child. Fourth, unrelated component via services. So we will see the magic of RxJS and subject. So let's directly jump on the basically my Visual Studio code, and let's say I'm having two components. Feature component. Here I have created one feature component simply like this, and then I'm having one component called student component. All right, so what is this is the first thing which we wanted to do is from parent to child component we want to communicate. So my parent component is the feature component, and my child component is student component. So what I will say in student component, basically I will say that I can be the input of any parent component. So we will provide you some kind of properties which will be the input for your component, for the parent component. So this is simple HTML for the teacher component. If you are wondering what is this feature, this is a simple model which we wanted to bind it up. Okay, so all right, let us go to student component HTML. In student component, I have not said anything. I just said I'm a student component behaving as a child. All right. So that's the only thing which I said. In student component.ts, what we have done, in order to be the input for your parent component, you need to include this input. Okay, so I said that teacher can be the input of your component, and I'm communicating one more property with the name. So principal, as a principal name I'm communicating from here. All right, teacher, from where it is coming, I will show you the teacher as well. So this is the code in student component here, where I'm including one model. So let me take you through the teacher model as well, what I am doing there. All right, so here I'm going. This is the teacher. So I'm exposing this teacher model basically over there. Then in the student components, I'm telling that teacher will be the input for you. So I will be supplying you many teachers which can be input for you. So this is the teacher property which will be getting used in parent component. So let me go to parent component and HTML. Here you see this is the property which is referenced from here. So this is the teacher which you can reference from your parent component like this, and whatever this feature will come up from there, it will behave like that. So how it is behaving, finally I have rendered this thing in app component.html. If I will go and see, I'm a teacher component behaving as a parent, and it has three teachers. Then from a student component, I'm supplying this. I'm a student component behaving as a child. Then from there, in the student component, I'm supplying this data. So if you wonder, Mr. Beep says where it is written, actually, it is written in my child component. While this parent to child communication is happening, like I'm supplying the teachers, getting teachers from here. This teacher I'm supplying over here, and this teacher is at the rate input for you, and this at the rate input from here teacher. Then in student component dot html, here I'm writing teacher dot name teacher. So these days I will teach you this subject, something like this. So similarly, I have three teachers which I have sent from parent component, and in the child component I am using those things. So it was just communicating from parent to child component. So as I discussed, this can be done with the at the rate input which we have shown, parent to child communication at the rate input. So again, I'm just repeating it. You need to have this input imported. Then whatever the property you want as an input, you declare like this. Then wherever you want it, you supply this as property from that component. So from the teacher component, we are supplying as a property, and here we are passing some model. So two things we are supplying. One is one class we are supplying, and one string we are supplying. So we have seen we are good with this at the rate input part. So how to use input part, you already know. If you want the source code, definitely I am here to provide you the source code as well. Now what's next? Let's see next thing. So next thing we are gonna to learn the way we have communicated from parent to child. Now we will communicate from child to parent component. So we are having something which I wanted to propagate to parent component. So that how it can be done? That can be done via at the rate output and event emitter. So all right, let us go here, and let me go to appcomponent.html. Let us close everything first of all. Yeah, we have closed all the open things. Okay, we are here. So now we will comment out this part, and we will enable this. Okay. So let me tell you why it is like needed, why we want to communicate from child to parent component. So I have come up with the one real-time example. Let us say in the header you are having your welcome user. So whatever user will log in, you will show in the header. So I'm having one header component, and I'm having one login component. So from the login component, once user will enter the username and password, and if it is successful login, that name we will send to our header component. So that's what we are trying to do, and what all things are used over here. Let me just use those things. Okay. So as I talked, I'm using login and header component. So let me show you how it works. So how it works, from this login component, I'm logging in like this and entering the data. I said login this deep bottom. So here, this is the till here it is a header component. I'm parent component behaving as a parent for the at the rate output and event emitter. The moment I will say login, this deep bottom, the user which has logged in, it is coming over here. How it is coming? Let's So we'll go to our header component and see the code of header component. In the header component, we are not having anything. We are simply having one header component where welcome and username we are receiving it. And this is the app login component. So header component is parent component, app login component is a child component. App login component is providing me one event called login, and in that on login event, I'm calling one method on login, and I'm passing dollar event. Just remember this. Okay, right. We'll go here. So in login component, we have created this username and password and submit button. Here the login button is firing up this event called submit. We'll go to this submit event. So submit event, what we are doing, we are just receiving the username from the text box, and we are using. Okay, so sorry for disturbance. And in the login component, what we are doing, we are having an username which will be holding the value of the text box, and in that text box, whatever we will get, we will supply to the our parent component, which is waiting for what? @output, which is having login event to be emitted. So let us go and see where is this login. This is the login event which is going to be emitted, and this is on login method which will receive the value. Alright. So here what we need to do in order to achieve this, we need to import EventEmitter and we need to import @output. So in here we are receiving username value. Here we are creating the event, which will be type of emitting the thing like this thing. And in the submit button, what we say, this dot login that @output should emit this dot username. Then we came to this our header component, and it is receiving this creating this login event, and then it is calling on login method. So let's go to this on login method of this header component, and this is receiving this username, which is getting printed over here. So that's the real time of example of child to parent communication via @output and EventEmitter. All right. So what is the next thing we have for you guys is child to parent component as a view child. So let's see how we can communicate from child to parent component via view child. So as of now, we have seen the child to parent communication via @output and EventEmitter. There is something very special thing called view child as well. So let's go to APP component. Let me close everything. I think that would be good. Alright, we are here and we are commenting out this one. And issue and child to parent communication we are doing via view child. So let me tell you what is the view, what is the advantage of the view child is when you are having lot of things to be updated from your child component to the parent component, and even if you want to access the child component event from the parent component, then you should go for the view child component. All right. So let me show you what are this we have used. We have EC parent component. So simply I have named like a real time example. Election Commission does the vote counting, and there are different polling with different sub booths do the counting, and then it propagates to parents. So parents anytime they can ask what is the counting at your voting place, what is the counting at your voting place where you are counting it. So this is EC parent component. What I have done in this HTML, I'm just calling click method, and in click I'm firing the start event. So okay, you start the voting counting and you stop the voting counting. That's all. Then in the child component, this is the child component. This start and stop is the method of the child component. Just remember how I'm referencing from parent component to child method. So this is APP EC child component. APP AAC child component. Let's go to this PS file. What is all you need to do is this view child you need to include from Angular 4, and you say that it is a type of one component. So EC child is one of our component which is getting behaved as a view child. So I said, okay, it is a counter component for me, and this counter component, and just remember that in the parent component, you have to use this in ng after view init only. Okay, so this is it. And start and stop is the method, which is what it is calling. This dot counter component dot start component. What is this counter component? EC child component. Let's go to EC child component. Alright, here EC child component is having start and stop method, which parent is able to fire this method and take the data. Alright, so this is what the code is in my base one. Child component, here we have on init and on destroy, and we are implementing on destroy as well. Okay, we haven't done that. Okay, alright, now ng destroy we are clear in the. Alright, in ng init of the child component, we are just starting. The moment you render the child component, it will start the counting. It's up to you. You can ask me to stop the counting. So we will see this in action. Okay, so in the child component, we don't have much code. We are having the logic in child component. That logic is getting fired from the parent component. So I will show the HTML as well. This is only HTML in the child component. Everything we are having in this parent component, which is firing the start and the stop. Let's see this in action. I said start both counting. It is starting. It is counting it. I stop it. Okay, it has stopped. I will say again start it. It will start again. So that's how. So these are the things which is in the parent component, and start both counting is the method of the child component. Stop is the method of the child component, but we are able to fire those methods via this. So if you want code, definitely I will be able to provide it. This is AC parent component HTML, this simple HTML I'm having. This is EC parent component here, where we have included the child like this, and then we have firing the method of the child component. This is EC child component here. So this is like this, and we are just having definition of a start and the stop over here, which is getting fired from the parent component. So that's all I have for view child. Okay, let's jump to our fourth topic. What was the fourth thing which we wanted to explain? Unrelated component via services. All right, so we'll do very magical thing about unrelated component via services. So let's quickly go over here. Let us close everything. Okay, all right. So what I did for unrelated components while using services, I have created one shared folder in that. So this is I'm gonna to show you the practical uses of this one. So why do you need this thing? So let's say I'm having one approval flow where one has to approve, then other approver has to approve, then other approver has to approve. Then what I did for this, in order to achieve, I have created one service which is injectable, and we are using the behavior subject from the RSJS. Okay, so anywhere this service will be available, anywhere your data will be available. So I'm just setting up the approval stage method. So initially basic approval is required. I am saying there are three components: basic check, advanced check, and then final check. Then current approval stage message is this dot approval stage message as an observer. Okay, we'll see the magic of this thing. Then if you are updating the message, you can just subscribe this method and do the update approval method. All right, so that's all is there in my service, and see the magic of this thing. How it is working, I will show you. If here I will go to utility component HTML. All right, here we have commented it, we have enabled it. So we are rendering three components which will be doing the approval flow. So how it is working, initially what is the message we wanted to show as a default basic approval is required. Okay, we are here. It says that the current message is basic approval is required. Now we are in the basic component and we will approve. Basic is approved. Now we said basic is approved, and we have just updated the message over here. It will, the moment I will fire this, it will update in all the components, whoever is listening. Here it came basic approval, basic is approved now. Now in the second component, if I will say advanced is approved, advanced is approved, then it will propagate advanced is approved. here in the final, if I will say final is approved, then it will propagate to final is approved. All right, let me show you the code as well. So we have seen this thing, and now we will go to code how we have achieved it. As I shown you, I have created one service which is holding the current approval stage message as an observable, and it has one method where from every component I am just calling this method and assigning the new method. Okay, let's go to basic component HTML. So this is the basic component HTML where two messages I am holding, current message and the updated message which we are updating into the text box, via text box, and then here I'm having one text box, and in the one I'm having one submit button. That's all in the HTML. Let's go to basic component here. So in the basic component here, so alright, we have one step. Now this is now what I wanted. What I said, component on init I have included, and then I said approval service view, whatever is giving me the message, you just subscribe that service. Alright, then these are the two messages which we are using in HTML. Then in the constructor I have injected the service. Then ng on init I am receiving the previous message. Current approval stage message is getting assigned in approval service, and I'm subscribing that. The moment you land into that component, it will have this message. After that, the moment you click on the submit button, approve button, then it will update the message. So this is the code of the basic check component. Alright, let's go to advanced check component. Similarly, in the advanced check component, nothing is different. We are doing same thing. Okay, and we are receiving the message like this. Similar thing we have done in the advanced check component. Wherever you want, you just receive the previous message in ng on init event and then update the message. So there are two things which you need to take care of. On ng init, you just receive the previous message, and in the button click event, you just send the latest message. It will be updated to all the listeners. Similarly, we are having this final check component as well. This final check component is having this HTML, which is common to the all, and in this final check component here, again we are doing same thing. We are subscribing that message on ng init, what is the current state now, and what I have done. So that's how it works. If I will say again I will say basic approval is done. Okay, basic approval is done. I said approve basic. Everybody got to know that basic approval is done. Whoever is listening, they got to know that basic approval is done. They might need to take some action. Right? I said that advanced approval is done. Now it came to advanced approval. Approval is done. Is done. Approval. So the advanced approval is done. The final approval is done. Approval is done. Nothing is pending. Yes, everybody got to know that final approval has been done and nothing is pending. So that's all about the four way of what we have discussed. Let us summarize it. Data sharing between components. So between Angular components, we have used @input for parent to child communication, @output for the and EventEmitter for the basically child to parent communication, view child for child to parent communication, shared services across anything. That's what we have done till now. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you want any kind of code related to this video, I'm happy to help you. Just comment your email ID in this video. I will provide you the source code as well. Thanks for watching me. Please subscribe. We are coming up with the very interesting videos. Please look out my playlist as well, where we have done lot of things with respect to Angular tutorials. Thank you for watching.